Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel today. My name is Christian and today we're here to talk about the new album from Good Charlotte. It is titled Youth Authority, and let's get straight into this thing. I went into this record with very low expectations. If you checked out my video that I released yesterday, I did a best and worst of Good Charlotte, and in that video I explained that ever since the Chronicles of Life and Death that came out in 2007, they've really been on a slow decline as far as quality goes. I thought that their last two records were just abysmal. They had one or two bright spots on each one, but Cardiology was very middle of the road and pretty boring. And the one before that was just pure pop, bad songwriting, bad lyricism kind of music. So when Good Charlotte released Makeshift Love, my expectations grew a little bit, and then they were put straight back down to the ground when they released 40 Ounce Dream, because I think that song is just awful. I think its lyricism is childish and stupid, and I think it's just so repetitive and the same thing over and over and over again for the duration of the song, and I really didn't love it. So let's get into the actual record. It starts out pretty well. It starts out with Life Changes, which I think is just a pretty good standard pop punk song, and then Makeshift Love, which, as I said, I really enjoyed. I thought that if they had kept going on that trajectory for this record, then it would have been a better record. And then it goes into the horrible single 40 Ounce Dream. I've already talked about that, so let's just blow straight past that. Life Can't Get Much Better, I think, is just the poster child for horribly generic, predictable, and just the most prime example of formulaic songwriting. You cannot tell me this isn't formulaic one bit. It follows a specific formula, just doing everything in the spot that it should, with no sense of imagination, creativity. Lyrically, again, just really childish, and I understand pop punk isn't meant to be musically challenging. It isn't meant to be thought-provoking. It's just meant to be fun and energetic. But this amount of laziness is just, in my opinion, unforgivable, especially for a band that for their first three records, they were fun pop punk records. They weren't lyrically that deep, but they did something different. They were doing something different at the time, and it's what made them stand out. It's why they're a big band today, because they did those things and were musically creative and imaginative, and when they did those things, they rose to the top of the scene. And now, what are they doing? The only reason they're popular now is because Joel's on The Voice, and that's the only reason the Madden Brothers project was successful as well. Then we get two songs with guests. So we get Keep Swinging, which has Kellen Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens, and we get Reason to Stay, which has Simon Neil from Biffy Clyro. Both of these songs are standouts on this record. Keep Swinging is fine. It's just, a normal pop punk song, nothing really challenging going on, but it's not so Disney that it's impossible to get into. The lyrics are really childish, though. They're trying to sing about how they're not selling out and how they don't give a crap what people say, but and honestly, it's obvious that they don't care through this record, because they've done the same thing again and they're just going to keep losing fans. But the fact that they're going out and saying, oh, we don't really care, like, we're going to do what we do, we're just going to, I hate to use the word sellout, because I think that's a stupid term that makes no sense. But really, they've sold out their fans in a way. Just people who came up with the first three records really love them, really love what they did differently, and then they just went, well, we're just going to forget all about that, and we don't really give a shit. That's how that song comes across to me. Reason to Stay opens up with Simon Neil, and it's the highlight of the entire record. Simon Neil has such a great voice, and I mean, when the acoustic guitar kicked in, I thought, oh, here we go, here's the generic pop punk ballad. Hold on, there'll be one later on. But Simon Neil coming in, absolutely great. And then the chorus is massive chorus. The only part of the song that really loses me is the second verse. I feel like rhythmically it's just a bit too odd for what they're trying to do, but I do like that they were trying to do something different with that song. Stray Dogs is the typical pop punk anthemic ballad. It's not acoustic, but it's you know the type of song I'm talking about, where it just builds slowly, and it's just a typical, and it's the typical love song lyrics from a pop punk band. Outfield is probably the most Disney song on the record. It's just very much, you'd catch that song being sung by a group of 12-year-olds on the Disney Channel. It shouldn't be on a pop punk record full of people who are in their 40s now, or even late 30s. I'm not sure how old they are because I don't really give a shit. There is a lot more guitar on this record than I thought there would be. I thought it would be a lot more stripped back and poppy. I do like to see a lot of guitar on the record, but honestly, as much as there is more guitar, it does make the songs better. But it is their best record since Chronicles of Life and Death, in my opinion. I thought that the last two records after Chronicles were both absolutely awful. This one is fine. It's not anything boundary pushing, as I've said, very formulaic, all that kind of stuff. And for the age of the band, the lyrics are a bit too childish for them to be excused for that. And, moving on from that, it does have the pop punk ballad. Ever Since Time of Your Life. If you watched any of my other reviews before, you know that the pop punk ballad is a staple in pop punk today because apparently that's something you have to do. They don't get put on the records because they're good songs. They get put on the record because, we have to have an acoustic song. So that song is Cars Full of People. Just boring song. Then we get the highlight of the record, War. This song is great. It arcs back to early Good Charlotte, the first three records. Heavy guitars, aggressive vocals, lyrics that are actually a little bit intelligent, and great melody, really catchy, and it feels like the only song on the record where they actually care. The rest of the record kind of feels like they're just like, we've got a couple of months off. We haven't done Good Charlotte in about 6 years. Let's do that again just because I've got like a month to do it. And this song feels genuine, and that's something that is really great to see because everything else is just so disingenuine, and having genuine emotion in a song is something that's really important to me. So it was good to hear that for one song on this record. Overall, it is just a generic pop punk record. It's very middle of the road. There's nothing much going on, lots of lazy songwriting, but there are a few bright moments. And if you can sit through the record and find those bright moments, you'll really enjoy those songs. I'm going to give my top 3 tracks now. That would be War, Reason to Stay, and Life Changes. I'm going to give the record a 2.5 out of 5. I liked about half the songs on this record. The other 6 can just go die in a hole. I don't really care. I know I'll get a lot of hate for this video because Good Charlotte fans are rabid and they can't take criticism. I mean, no fans of any band can, in my experience. So, anyway, thank you for watching my video today. Please hit subscribe down below and I'll see you next time. Fresh Cones.